I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, baby. And I don't want to miss a thing.
Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy. Chew and the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this before you was on your mama.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Armageddon was just on. Holy shit. Where are we, man? Dirty ass San Diego.
Nasty ass San Diego.
Man, this homeless situation out here is sus.
That dude, still the one who almost made us both throw up.
Let's give it some context. Andy and I, yesterday, Andy found a Jimmy John's, which I told Andy, if somebody put a gun in your head, because I know you love Jimmy John's and Chick-fil-A. If somebody put a gun in your head and said Chick-fil-A or Jimmy John's, who you choosing?
I said I'd take Jimmy John's right now.
Because you don't do the fried.
I'm trying not to do the fried food, but yeah,
Right.
Jimmy John's. Plus, well, it doesn't. I seem to be able to find more Chick-fil-A's than I can Jimmy John's right now.
Yeah.
And we're on the road. There's no Jimmy John's by my house.
But wait a minute now. So you said no because it's fried, this chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
But if you eat Jimmy John's, that's bread and heavy sodium intake.
Yeah, the sodium's bad. The bread's not that good for you, but you can also get it in a lettuce wrap.
Is that what you do?
Sometimes. Not today.
Oh, okay.
Today I didn't get it with the lettuce wrap, but I've gotten it with the lettuce wrap before.
Boom!
It's not as good. You mean the bread? You want that texture of the bread, but
Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
there was a Jimmy John's that we walked to, and we're staying here in downtown San Diego. And you know what I want to call this episode?
What?
Andy at Andes. Because the hotel is called Andes.
Yeah.
And I like this hotel. It's right smack dab in the heartbeat of downtown San Diego, where during the day, this place is like, minus the homelessness, a pristine church. But at night, the ghouls come out.
Yeah,
This is a totally different place at night. Anyway, so,
But during the day, it smells like piss, dude.
well, this is what we're getting to. So Andy found a Jimmy John's. We walked to Jimmy John's, and right on the block that Jimmy John's is just a third world nation of homelessness. And so that's where we went. And on our way back, there was this homeless dude who, right on the corner of where our hotel sits, is a trash can. This took whatever was in this bowl and just swallowed it, and then just flung his arm in the air and walked away. And I'm just like, dude, you know, and listen, man, we've talked about this before, and I know people are very sympathetic to homeless people, and I get it. You know, some people are homeless because they just hit a string of bad luck and can't really help themselves. Some people have mental disorders. But my thing is this, man, and I've always said this. I don't get that if you have two working arms, two working legs, and you have a clear, functional brain, how the fuck do you just surrender to this? Like you just refuse to figure out a way out of this. And I know there are people that are homeless that go, look, I know I'm homeless, but it is my goal to get out of this ASAP, and they do. But when you take what's in a garbage can and you chunk that down, I mean, somebody's DNA, somebody's saliva, the bacteria that's in the garbage can on a hot August, and there's the temperature, and you chug that down like you made it. That level of mental, I give up. That's a whole nother level of I surrender. That you go, I'm okay with this level of homelessness. That I'm just gonna chuck down whatever somebody ate out this hot garbage can. That's a different give up.
What you said, though, I do agree with you. I mean, if you have a mental condition, if you fall on hard times, there's reasons why some people end up on the street, and they have nowhere else to go, and you have nothing but empathy for those people. But here it's a lot of drug addicts, There's a lot of people, like you said, giving up. They're just going to do drugs. They're going to just live on the street. And this is where, I've said this on the podcast before. If we have an argument and you want to argue, emotion versus facts, I can't win. Facts won't beat emotion. Because you can look at homeless people and go, oh, man, it's a tragedy. That's too bad. That's horrible. You can empathize with them. You can come up with all the reasons why. But when you look at the street and it's litter, piss everywhere, people uncomfortable to even go into those areas anymore, to go to work. You can't walk down the street anymore. You can't let your girl go walk to her car without worrying about it. Sometimes the emotional argument has to go away, and we have to get back to a little bit of a reason. You can't have this, man. The more sympathy, the more empathy we try to have, the bigger the larger the situation grows. Now, there's other factors on why it grows, but most of us are out there working our ass off, trying to continue to try to live this life, and this is not helping. And I don't know how they're going to fix it. But here in California, man, I just don't understand it.
We went and got Jimmy John's again the next day today. And again, that same block is this one side of the sidewalk where they congregate. Man, I'm telling you, the stench, as we walk past, that stench punched me like an invisible Mike Tyson. like, you know what I'm saying? It's just holy. And I told Andy so much so that I said, man, when we get these sandwiches, or when I get my sandwich, we got to cross the street and walk on the other side. Because I can't, even though my sandwich is wrapped up in a bag, I can't let my bag travel through this air. Like I'm telling you, it was pungent, nigga. It was pungent.
I like how you said Tyson, because it is like Tyson, because you get a hit in the face.
Ooh.
And then, like, as you're trying to get past it, it hits you in the back of the head, it hits you on the side of the head.
No, it was like Tyson hit me in the front and the invisible cops hit me in the back, nigga, with a baton. That shit was pungent, nigga.
Even the further you walked away from it, it just felt like it was chasing you.
Oh, goodness. And then yesterday when we saw that, when we walked that same block, there was one brother, and he had a gallon of milk. And I guess he was eating cereal, because when we walked past him to get the sandwich, I just saw the gallon of milk in the bag. Then when we walked past him again after I got the sandwich, so he had made some makeshift bowl in some plastic container, and he was sitting on the side on the ground eating eating the cereal with the milk. And I just went, dude, I'm a milk dude, and I'm just like, man, it's hot. You sitting there eating cereal or sitting on the sidewalk with milk, and then later that milk gonna get warm and you gonna drink that again. I can't, man. I just can't, man. I don't get it.
And then the guys that when we were walking back today, the guy who was having an argument with no one else right there.
Right. Can you believe this motherfucker? And then he talked about Martians. Can you believe this? And he used the words, these stupid. And then the Martians came. The irony in that situation, goddamn.
But it's just such an listen, I have a lot of empathy for people, and I don't want to see people living like this. You have to have something. You can't have it. It just can't keep going this way. It's not every time people try to make it better by just throwing money at it. It isn't fixing the problem.
I'm gonna say this line that Jay-Z said on his Hard Knock Life tour when they were backstage and him and DMX was flowing, and he said something about something, and he's talking about jail. He goes, I could do the time, but what's really on my mind is ain't no holes in the pen. Let me tell you, it's such a motivating factor for me that jail and homelessness I could never do. Ain't no in it. There's no in homelessness unless you homeless, and then that's a clinic visit. And I'm not,
No, I don't think there's even a clinic visit in it. It's just.
I'm saying if you homeless and you another homeless broad and you just said drugs,
yeah.
So there could be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think it's just the end. That's just the end at that point. That's just the end. There's no visits.
Yeah, listen, man. Again, I'm not knocking homelessness. I'm just saying that, when you've lived and before anybody becomes homeless, they lived in a home, and when you know what it's like to be in the comfort of a nice warm bed with a roof over your head and a fridge that you can go to and a shower you can take whenever you want. Once you hit the streets, is there not a motivation in what you had to make you go, I got to get that back?
Unless it's drugs, man. Drugs win.
Ugh.
Drugs win over all that. Those guys that are standing up, sleeping on the street. I mean, literally standing up, leaning against things, sleeping. I mean, that's drugs. They're not actually asleep. They're just comatose.
Yeah.
And, once you get to that place, I don't think you remember or care what your bed felt like.
I didn't know you were
that high.
drinking water, too, out of a can. We should take a toast, man. Let's take a toast.
I got the liquid death.
All right, to Holmes.
To Holmes.
All right. Before we get to the main order of business, which is we're going to discuss this Tom Brady Dynasty documentary. Oh, God, can't get hot. Where's that coming from? I thought I heard a voice from behind the couch or under the bed. Yeah, it's me, kid. I'm jacking off. I'll join you guys in a second. You mentioned Tom fucking Brady, and I you noticed your mattress got taller, kid. That's because my all right. Anyway, it's called Dynasty. It's on Hulu. Not Hulu, Apple TV, a 10-part documentary.
A 10-piece.
10-piece. Very reminiscent of The Last Dance, which also was a 10-piece, but this is football. So if you were a diehard basketball fan, a Michael Jordan hewer like myself, B, you know how much The Last Dance meant to me. I'm not a football guy, so this doesn't jiggle my balls the way The Last Dance did, but nonetheless, I am a dude. And this is a sport, so the King Kong in me had to participate.
Before you get into that, though, before we get into that, I have to, because today is Saturday, and we're in San Diego.
Yeah.
Congratulate the men's Olympic basketball team.
They won the gold?
They won the gold today.
They won by like 6, right?
I don't even know what they won by.
I think it was 95-91. Oh, yeah, won by 4 or
but
something.
It's five in a row, I guess, now.
Mm-hmm.
And but we don't know what it's going to look like in 4 years from now.
In terms of
squad's going to be completely different.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, LeBron will be gone by then, and chances
Curry.
of maybe KD
And Curry will be probably
Yeah.
done. This was their last one. So
Listen, and you guys can suck my dick with that whole. The world has gotten better. That they won by 4 or 5 or whatever it was. 92 Dream Team blew everybody out of the waters, kid. By 30 points or more. Said, I know. Well, when the Team USA and 92 Dream Team played, they only played 6 dudes from the NBA then. This one was like 56 or 60. I don't give a It's Michael Jordan. It's Bird. It's Magic. You're talking about 3 of the highest basketball IQs ever. Not to mention fierce competitors. Then throw in Charles Barkley, another fierce competitor. Nah, I'm not buying it. The 92 Dream Team would not have beat the Sudan team by 1 point, and they wouldn't have won the gold by 4 points. It would have been a landslide. Do you buy into that?
I do think I think that competition has gotten stronger. But if you were asking me if I think that Dream Team would have
won by 4,
I think they would have cleaned up a lot.
Come
better.
on, man.
You're talking about the most exceptional basketball players. I know that everybody's going to hate this and say I know your generation has great basketball players, but the game was different. The way they played was different, and don't forget too the European style playing that is happening in the Olympics wasn't being played in America. So the Dream Team had to convert to that European style of playing to play in the Olympics, and they had no problem doing it because the team game was much more important back then, and the way that they played, and the way that they got coached, and the way that they were coachable, is what made them the team. And just understanding the game and how they played. I mean, honestly, Bird and Magic probably knew exactly how to play together because they knew exactly how each other played because they watched tape. They knew everything about each other. Yeah. So, I do think that they would. I think they would dismantle any other team still to this day.
And listen, when you got MJ on your squad, the win's pretty much already in the bag. But now you're talking about Magic, one of the greatest ever. Bird, one of the greatest ever. And then again, you talking about that beast in Barkley, them 2 big gorillas in Robinson and Patrick Ewing. Scotty Pip, get the out of here. I don't miss me with that.
But congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
It's still 5 in a row Unbelievable.
Now, here we go. You know my man, Michael Jordan. What the is his son doing, man?
Oh, in that photo?
What the is MJ's son doing? Your dad is MJ. You are with the brand.
Yeah, it's smelling salts. He's trying to wake up.
Yes. You know what? That's what that was. He ain't do no. Dude, was that like, that had to be like a paparazzi somewhere in the bushes. There's no way you're doing that. And your boy, somebody in your crew ain't going, hey man, you are Michael Jordan's son. What the are you doing?
They're probably, what I thought it looked like is that it was probably a telephoto lens from above. I think they were like at a hotel. It looks like a hotel pool.
Right.
Maybe someone was on the second floor and it's like in the middle.
Well, no, it couldn't have been above because it would have been an aerial angle. That looked like it was head on.
No, well, maybe. I don't know. But it looked like whatever they did, they got him. They got him.
Damn.
But you don't.
And then I saw another picture where I guess he had a blunt shortly after that. So this motherfucker was weed and coke and white women.
You should have a blunt.
God, weed, coke, and white women. He knows how to party.
That, you know what? That's the name of a television series right there.
What?
A black sitcom called Weed. How'd you just say it?
Weed, coke, and white women.
Weed, Coke, and White Women. That's what it should be called. Weed, Coke. And it's just about,
How to party.
yeah,
Yeah.
black dudes going out.
Damn, I swear, I wonder, what do you think Michael is saying to him? You think he's just chewing him a new ass?
You know what? I don't know Michael Jordan, but from what I've heard about him, I bet he hasn't even talked to him.
That's probably why he's doing the coke.
No, I bet the phone. I bet it rings, but no one's picking up. I bet. Like if you're Jordan and that's your son,
Yeah.
yeah, let the phone keep ringing. I'm not talking.
Oh,
to you
you're
right
not picking it up?
Not talking to you right now. I'm not talking to you.
And what do you think would be that angle for what? He just don't want to get reamed out?
No, I just don't know. I think he's calling his dad, saying, "Hey, trying to get a hold of him." And
He's calling his dad, and his dad won't pick up.
Yeah, his dad's not picking up.
Oh.
Because that way you understand. If I don't pick up, you're just out on your own. So I'm going to wait until I calm down. Then I'm going to pick up the phone.
Right.
And then I'm going to let you have it.
Right.
Because you better be ready just to sit there and shut the up and listen to what I have to say to you. Because otherwise, that phone thing, that's forever.
And I don't know Jordan obviously either, but something tells me he would cut you off.
Yeah.
He might cut you off like
That's
that.
what I'm saying. But, don't, hold them to other famous people's kids' standards. Other famous people kids f up all the time. So it's like I've said here on this podcast before, and you don't want to acknowledge it. Time, more success, more money, more generations of that. It's all going to be the same. Before you know it, you're out feeding bears.
If sniffing coke and selling it was deemed socially acceptable, Nike would sponsor his son and just say, "Just sniff it."
Just sniff it.
Yeah. Damn. Dude, I'm not really into the Olympics, but as I'm watching everything on my phone, like most people, you know who Sha'Carri Richardson is?
Yeah.
Did you see the race?
No. I didn't watch any of the Olympics.
Dude,
this year.
they said, I think it's that thing where, like a baton or something. It wasn't the baton, but the people run and then there are other people waiting.
Yeah,
and
that's the
then
baton. You have
okay,
to
but
pass
don't
the-
they pass the baton?
Yeah, you have to pass the baton.
Yeah, there was no baton in
Oh,
this.
okay.
So I don't know what this was.
Tag, you're it.
Whatever it was. But they're running, and this one black girl from whatever country she's from is leading the pack. And then Sha'Carri just comes up, and then she's by her side, and she shoots her a look, and it was the most gangster ever. Like, and turns up the jets, and I mean, takes the off. But you got to see the look because they do a close up of her face. But just before she like turns the jets up and burns this, she looks over like and gone. But my thing was, why do white people even compete? It's such a mop up. Like all when you whether it's the men or the women, when you look at the photo and look at the videos, all the white people are in the back. Why do they even show up to compete in running? We just mop the floor up when it comes to running.
Because in that country, they're the best that they got. That's all they had.
Yeah, we can't be on track when it comes to running. We are the fastest species.
So let me ask you this though: when she passed it, what did you think of her eyelashes? Though, did you like her eyelashes when she?
She didn't seem to have one of them crazy eyelashes.
She didn't have them at that time.
No,
I like when she wears them.
Yeah,
because she could.
Her hair was toned down too. She usually has some wild colored Skittles type colored hair. You know what I'm saying? Her whole look was toned down.
Dude, I love it. I love when she, I could just imagine her with those long eyelashes and just like blinks at the person like bye bye, and then it goes.
Yeah, that probably would cause wind resistance and slow her down.
Maybe, but she has her own vibe, man. I think it's just great.
Yeah, yeah, man. So that was.
Did she have the nails though? Did she have?
No, everything was toned down.
Really,
completely toned down. Yeah. All right, you ready to get into this Brady thing?
Yeah, we can do Brady thing.
Dude, I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, I will never understand how Bill Belichick, because I forgot until I rewatched this thing that he was actually married and had kids, but now he's got this like 20-something-year-old girlfriend. And I will never understand how he had a wife, let alone a 20-something-year-old girlfriend, and that man has the personality of a serial killer. I mean, his poker face is undeniable. Like if I had to pick somebody to do a crime with, it'd be him. Because I can see him in the interrogation room just, that man, his personality is as interesting as a cement wall. Jesus.
He must share his emotional side with people close to him. And that's why he has, the wife and the girlfriend.
That's crazy, dude. Like I'm going, what? Because, usually you can see through somebody's personality and the way that they talk, through interviews, you can see something that maybe they have a sarcastic wit, or something that you would go, okay, that dude is just straight. No, I told him I want to play what we were going to do, and that's what we did. So that's it. I'm just like, what is the allure to this?
He just doesn't like the media, man. You have to have some kind of personality. You get the job. You had to interview for the job. You stood out. It's not just your X's and O's.
Well, I mean, they talked about how brilliant of a young coach he was even prior to New England when he was in Cleveland, which I never knew he coached in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, he was responsible for the trade of Kozar. But that's a later note. But, yeah, they talked about he was such a brilliant mind. And you saw, obviously, his brilliance in his tenure with the Patriots with him and Brady.
Yeah, brilliant. But, yeah, I think his coaching style is to be minimal about how emotional he gets. He's just a coach, man. Just a very,
Jesus.
I think it's kind of necessary. If you're a coach, you have to stay even. You want to stay, and I think the media, I think all these coaches start to perceive the media as the adversary. You're fighting the team that you're playing, but the media is always trying to find a way to get juicy items out to spur more conversations. And I think a lot of coaches know the media tries to do that, so they give you nothing so that the other team can't use that against you. I think that's a lot of what it is.
I guess. But Jesus. And dude, listen, I've always said as a dude, basketball is my favorite sport, basketball and boxing. Outside of that, again, I'm not a diehard fanatical sports fan. I mean, I never really watched a baseball game, not really into baseball. I think I attended one baseball. I think every man should at least go to one live sporting event of every sport once. Went to baseball. Wasn't necessarily. I enjoyed the hot dogs and the beer more than I did the game.
But you didn't really play sports growing up, did you?
Baseball.
Yeah,
I kind of like playing baseball. I like playing baseball more than I like watching it.
Okay, yeah, baseball it's a slow game.
I like to bowl. I got all the equipment, but I'm nowhere near good. But I wear the glove. I got the shoes. I got the bag. I got my own ball. Dude, I got a towel that I put in my waistband so that make sure my hands. I'm telling you, I look like a pro, but I'm terrible. I've never been to a live football game, something I want to do, but I'm ultimately getting to, I need to understand, and maybe you can help me. Explain to me the mindset of a sports fan, because they showed where, people were waiting in line to get tickets in the dead of winter in Massachusetts, snow's coming down, and I'm just going, as a sports fan, what makes you wait out in the cold in the dead of winter for hours to get a ticket to a game? Like, I go ahead.
I think it has to do with you. I think it's, first of all, you have to have some love for the game. And the reason I asked you if you played sports is because I think when you play certain games, you develop a little love for them. And then to see someone do it at a higher level that you couldn't do, I think you have admiration for those people because you understand the game and you see them doing it and you're like, I could never do that. That's amazing. That's and you to have the idea of what they're doing, but knowing that it's not something you can accomplish. I think there's something about that. But then your team, representing your team, this is the tribalism of America, man. And I guess it's the tribalism of the world. But you get into this is my group. But I want to say something about those tickets when you see people standing in line. And we talk about sports. We talk about equity between male and female. What did you see? Who was standing in line for those tickets?
White folks?
But who was standing in line? Men.
Yeah.
Where everybody says, oh, women enjoy this. Women like sports. I didn't see women standing in line in the cold.
No, they'll go with you once you get the tickets, and they'll help you spend your money for the treats and the meat and the meals and all that shit. But yeah, no, they don't. Yeah,
I didn't see them camping out in line.
When I will have real respect for women in regards to sports, and I'll take them seriously. You got to do like the guys. Come, take off your shirt and bra, and paint your body, and sit in the stands, and wave your around, and act like a fool. Then I'll believe you.
I still don't even understand that though. Why do people pay? I don't understand that fandom.
Look, I don't understand this. And they showed at one point during the series when New England was kicking ass, and the one guy had his face painted, and he looked dead in the camera, and he was like, "Rah!" And I'm going, you act like you're playing, like you're playing, and then it proceeds to just these random acts of physical aggression and almost bordering violence. Calm your monkey ass down.
But I think it's part of like having home court advantage, home field advantage. You want to have that. The fans they're bringing that energy to you. It's like when we go to do a comedy show. You don't have to have people yelling out, but to have energy.
And you know what? I like when they have the energy, but when they get to acting like fools, calm your monkey ass down.
I don't think it affects them because they're further away, and I think it's just part of the game.
Dude, like I'll tell you something that I would look forward to about football, because this actually looks fun to me, even though I'm kind of lost with this too. Like tailgating.
Yeah.
I can imagine packed parking lot, the smell of the barbecue cooking. Especially if you're around a bunch of friends and you're barbecuing, you're drinking, you're hanging out. But what I don't get is, which to me seems like a senseless tease. So you're in the parking lot next to the stadium. You can hear the action. You can watch it on your TV outside the stadium. What are we doing here? To be that close to the action, where you can hear the roar from the people in there watching the actual game, but you on the other side watching through a television. Again, the tailgating, the eating part of it, the drinking part of it, the commiserating part of it with your friends and shit. All right. But damn, dog, we right there. Why we not in there?
Don't have tickets, man.
That to me, again, this is a fandom that to me is senseless.
It's crazy, and you pay, and you have to pay for those to the
parking lot.
And some of these guys have like they unpack full grills.
Yes,
I mean not just regular grills, and then flat top grills, and then they have all kinds of crazy
like a hibachi place.
Yeah, whole like a little restaurant in the back of their.
Yeah, that to me almost falls in line with why I've said before, I'll go to a strip club because, if I'm a drink anyway, why not drink and look at titties? But really, when it comes to strip clubs, I'm like, what a tease. So you going to dance on me, grind on me, put your in my face, but I can't you. What are we doing here? Like I'm near the action. I can hear the roar of the crowd. You know what I mean? We know what's going on the other side of in there. Why are we doing this in a parking lot? I don't like teasing myself.
But most people do have tickets to the game. There's some people that don't, but I mean, they like the whole atmosphere, the whole party, the whole social aspect of that being in the parking lot. I would go to a tailgate just so that I can go a little early, so I don't have to deal with the traffic, and then go and
As long as you can get in.
yeah, as long as I can get in.
game.
I'm not going to the game not to go to the game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but some people don't mind.
Yeah.
But I prefer honestly, the truth is, basketball. I do like to go into the game. If you have
Are there tailgates for basketball? No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, some people have like little, not like football, not at all like football, but they'll have like little things going on out there. But I like going to a game, a basketball game. I like going actual to the game if I can get a good seat because you can actually hear what's going on the floor. You can, you feel a lot closer to the game. But football, I prefer to watch it at home.
Right.
I don't really like the live games because you're usually far away. The way the game's played, the field is so long. You only see so much of it. You have little binoculars, and then if you miss something, there's no replay. Maybe there's a replay on the screen above.
Right.
But if you're, and you see guys there, and they have their screens, they're watching it. They're listening.
That is crazy.
They're listening to the television broadcast, watching it on the screen, and
Wow,
in the game. Yeah. So I actually prefer to be at home with my food, changing the channel during times I don't want to see something halftime. If I don't want to see,
Right.
Doing whatever I want to do, having my bathroom.
You know what I'm saying?
For a football game, I prefer that.
I would
honestly
too. I
do.
could be naked at home and watch the game. I can't do that in the stadium.
You could probably pull it off. Just paint some underwear on. But yeah. So, but football is. I don't really dig the game going live.
Right.
I like it. I like it on television. I just get a better. You get a better a view of the game because you're gonna get the replays. You're gonna get to see. When you're at the games and there's the challenge or whatever, a hit. They'll play it 3 or 4 times on TV. At the game, they won't play it at all because they don't want to rowdy up the crowd and get somebody upset.
This how much I don't know football. Like I had automatically assumed that when Tom Brady got drafted, he was always their starting quarterback.
Oh no,
I didn't know about the Drew Bledsoe thing, and it was funny because prior to Tom becoming the man, Drew was the man, and at one point, Drew said in the doc, "Yeah, basically Tom wasn't a threat. He's not the guy I should be worried about." That's exactly who the guy that you shouldn't be worried about is the guy you should always be worried about.
But the way that football works generally, Tom Brady wasn't the guy he should be worried about. He really wasn't. I mean, Tom Brady was drafted 199, so he's at the end of the draft. He was picked up because he was the best player available at that pick. It wasn't because they really were looking for a quarterback.
Yeah.
And they bring him in, and Bledsoe's was like a great quarterback at the time. People really thought that he was the key to going. Parcells loved him, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Patriots, but I liked Bledsoe. I thought he was a good quarterback.
Right.
And I think that's how most of us felt. And then, watch this documentary.
They said he got $100 million.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you keep $100 million quarterback sidelined?
Because, he got him to the playoffs. He's the quarterback. Robert Kraft is the owner. And, that's how they got to this point. I mean, they were dogs of the NFL. They never were played well. What do you say? They had one. I think they said in this they had one postseason win in the whole time they've been a team before, and
prior to their championship, their first one, it was 47 years.
So they were nothing, and then this Bledsoe looked like he was going to lead them into something, and that's how I felt. I'm not a huge football guy. I have my teams that I like, but that was it, But he looked like he was doing something. You kind of wrote, he was, and they were the underdog team, so you rooted for him, So that Bledsoe was the dude you rooted for, and then he gets hurt.
Did you agree with Belichick's decision to not bring Drew back and stick with Tom? Would you have brought Drew back?
It's hard to say that, because I'm trying to remember. I actually remember this time. I actually remember it because I remember what was going on in my life at the time. Yes, I understand not bringing him back because when you have that kind of injury and you're not playing every day, you're not in football shape. Your mind isn't in football mind mode. They talk about that all the time. Even when Jordan. I'll use Jordan because that's an easy way to do this. When Jordan was in shape playing baseball, he was in baseball shape. But when he came to play basketball, he wasn't in basketball shape. And it's very specific between the sports you play and how you play. And being a quarterback, you have to have your mind in that kind of quick mode shape, and then being able to plant your knee, being able to throw. Yeah, you can do it in practice, but it's a big difference when there's 300-pound linemen coming at you. So I was like, if they're winning with Brady, yeah, that's your $100 million quarterback, but they're winning. There's no reason to take him out. When Brady got hurt, though, and they put Bledsoe in, and then I thought for sure Bledsoe.
That was cruel, man.
I thought for sure Bledsoe was coming back for the next game.
Especially because he goes, you don't get to the Super Bowl often, if at all. So to be this close, I'm going to play my ass off. And then for Belichick to go, yeah, you kind of got us here, but I'm going back to Brady for the Super Bowl after we've already toyed with you this whole time and not bringing you back.
But the assistant coach that Belichick is using, and I forgot his name, he's the one who, every one of these guru coaches like Belichick, any of these coaches, Phil Jackson, I mean, he had Tex Winter. Everybody has these guys that are behind him that have these insights that make the head coach look like geniuses because they're listening to the guys. And one of the things he was saying, I'll get his name as we go through this, but he said that's when he noticed that, and it started with Kozar wasn't taking these. He was getting skittish of getting hit. That's one of the things that happened when they were
right. I remember. I know where you're going.
So now this guy comes and he sees that the Bledsoe. Kozar was Bledsoe was worried about the pass, about getting hit, and he saw that
he would lock up.
He would lock up, and then he would he would either just turn and drop because he didn't want to get hit. And they noticed it, and they would start, they start taking tape, and then they start looking at what he's doing, and they're like, yeah, he has an issue, and it's because he's been beat up so many times. Yeah, he got us to this point. It took him all these years, and he's in a great place, but he may not be able to get over the hump because of it. He might have, though, at that particular time.
Right.
But it's amazing how these guys have to see it and be able to address it, and even if it's a great player, you have to be able to see their weaknesses. Now, could you go in and say, hey, man, well, this is what we're noticing about you. Take a look at it. This is what's happening. Can you coach them back up? I don't know.
But they should definitely at least say something to him like that, right?
But
Be honest.
Belichick is the kind of guy, and this is what it looks like to me, is when he sees your usefulness starting to fade.
You out of here.
You're looking for the next player because he is looking for plug and play.
That's real quick. Let me jump ahead because since you just said that, let me jump ahead. I wish people, I don't know why people don't do this. Maybe they do, and they just won't admit it. Can we knock off this whole aspect of you're like a son to me? You're like family. This is a business. And every time, and I notice whether it was, and listen, the great Tom Brady, and I think hands down especially when you see this, he is undoubtedly the greatest quarterback of all time, given his level of success, how many times he's been to the Super Bowl, knowing that it's like you said, it ain't like basketball where you get 4 out of 7 chances to win a championship. This is one game. So a mistake here, a mistake there.
Bring it or go home.
Exactly. So I'm just sitting here like, given as many times as this motherfucker's been to the Super Bowl when it's very hard to even get to one. Then the fact that he won 1 with Tampa, with 5 with New England.
I think it's 5 with New England.
5 with New England. To win another one with a different team, like he is undoubtedly the greatest quarterback of all time. And what was I going to ask? I was going to ask you something. I was going to say something, but now I might just.
But I'll say this to what you just said, though. It's a business.
Oh, no, that. So, but this idea that people go, they're like a son to me. Robert Kraft said, so-and-so was like a son to me, and we're all family here. And it's like, no, you're not. It's business. If Tom Brady could be considered to be let go from an organization that he basically made, then anybody's expendable. But they always say this like, oh, he was like a family man, Jimmy Garoppolo. And again, not knowing football, again, I thought it was all Tom Brady. It was Drew Bledsoe. It was Tom Brady. It was Sam Castle. It was Jimmy Garoppolo. Nobody's family. You don't cut ties with family.
Well, you say you don't cut ties with family. That's one thing. But, yeah, there's still – you still have gas in the tank, and they cut you. You want to go play somewhere else. And you say it's business. In my particular family's business, they fired my dad twice. So, yeah, it's business, but family does the same thing. You can't have a family business and all of a sudden you're up one morning and your son's doing by the pool and you don't fire him. You have to fire him.
Right.
He has to he get fired for that.
All right.
So I think it's within realm. It's still family. You still care for the person. Maybe you give them a little bit longer leash, but you.
But it's family with contingencies.
It is family with contingencies.
As long as you're winning and you making me money and you performing at the highest level, you're family.
But in this business and that family business of football, as an athlete, you only have a window of opportunity to continue to play. Tom Brady's was extended because we'll talk more about his health regimen as this goes on, but his window was extended. But most players,
and that's partly because of his health regimen.
But
right.
most players, the average, I think they said the average. Now I know there's other people who play a lot longer, but the average, because a lot of people only last a year, maybe 2. The average is 3 years to play in the NFL.
Well, listen, whether it's 3 years or beyond, just stop the fake. Don't tell me I'm family. It's business. Because again, the moment there's a in your armor, then you become expendable. But don't tell me I'm family. Don't make it seem like this relationship is based on some personal shit. It's business.
It's a family business. As long as you, and I personally love you, but if you can't handle the job anymore, we have to replace you.
So then you don't love me no more.
I love you, but you're going to have to go over here. Maybe you get a job in the office. Maybe you get a job here. They do retain a lot of people. A lot of people stay in the system. A lot of these people become general managers. They become coaches. They still work in like, I don't think that Tom Brady would have any problem coming back to work with Robert Kraft if he wanted to do that. But once you have the kind of money Tom Brady has, are you coming back to make a few $100,000, $1 million as a GM and working every single day?
Well, that's a whole nother love for the game.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that's something he would ever do. And Tom Brady might be a guy who wants to put a group together and buy a team one day.
I got to take my hat off to Drew Bledsoe, though, man, because to be able to endure that and keep a positive attitude, and they at one point, you could obviously see in the beginning he was pissed, rightly so. But then towards, as this goes a little deeper, They even said, I forget what the player's name, Bushem, one of those dudes from the Patriots, the brunette nigga.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He goes, and then at one point, Drew embraced Tom and was trying to help him any way that he could, and you saw on the sidelines during the game how sometimes the quarterback will talk to his team, guys, and we need the blah blah blah. Drew would talk to Tom, and I'm going, dude, could you do that? Would you be able to endure that kind of? And to me, what seems like a little bit of betrayal to go, all right, let me take a deep breath and swallow my pride and do what's best for the team.
Just speaking of him, even I don't know if I could do that. I don't know how well to do that, but I think that. I think he's one of the greatest people that I've seen play this game.
That's so.
Yeah. Because he did this doc.
Yeah.
And he did it honestly.
Yeah.
He might have hit a little bit of the disappointment and the ego that you would have to have. He might have toned that down a little bit when he talked about it. Because, it would be crushing because this is what you work your whole life for. But for him to be honest and be on it, and he was pretty honest. I was pretty amazed by it.
That one moment where the reporters are talking to him and he literally says, yeah, well, I guess I just got to get out there and fight for my job.
Yeah.
And then when the reporter tried to ask him something else, he went, no, that's enough, guys. So clearly he was upset.
But you should be upset. There's no one that's a professional that has reached a highest level and then is told that they can't play and not be mad when you still have it in you. So he should be mad.
And you got offered $100 million, and it was your team.
Yeah, and it was your team. And it was your team before you got. It's Teddy Bruschi that you were talking. And the only reason I wanted to make sure because he went to the U of A, where that's I have ties, and I wanted to say that other coach's name, but I don't see him on here. If I see it, I'll get to it. And a big shout out to Bill Burr for being on it too. By the way, this
he did have a moment on that.
Yeah.
Did you? And I know you're not a gamer, but did you ever play Tecmo Bowl?
Is that just the little one that you hand?
Yeah, that went right out the window. if me saying Tecmo Bowl, you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to go, is that the one where you, then no.
The last time I played an electronic football game was the one that you handheld, and it was just the little lines, and they went doot. And
dude, let me tell you, and for the gamers out there, and it's so crazy because, again, I'm a gamer, and I rock all the way from Nintendo to Sega, then I got Sega Genesis, and all the way to where I'm at now with the PS5. And, you've seen in my game room, I still got all lined up, the PS3, the PS4 Max, and the PS5. When you see the way the football games are now, you would know Tecmo Bowl back then was godsend. And it was just the most basic, but you took it. It meant everything to you if you were a gamer and a football guy. And when they talked about how Tom would get so competitive, he threw the controller into the wall. Dude, I'm just going, man, can they imagine back then, if we have what we have today back then, they might not make practice. It's so goddamn realistic and so beautiful to watch. But yeah, I was like, damn, I wonder if Andy ever played Tecmo Bowl.
No, man, I'm just going to tell you this so that you'll understand a little bit better. I hate games. Hate, because my dad, when we got a game, and he's such a football, my stepdad, he was such a football fanatic, a junkie, like football junkie. And I'm sure, we had financial problems growing up. I'm sure he gambled away tons of money that we don't know about. That's why we were always so tight. But my dad used to go in, and he used to play football. He would put teams against each other, I guess you could move players in and out from other teams or whatever, and he would watch. He would just sit there, not playing, and just watch the game. He would watch the video game. He'd watch the computer play the teams.
Really?
And he would just sit there and watch it to see what would happen.
And did he not let you play if you wanted to play?
I couldn't even understand it. Like a grown man is letting a computer play. It's like if you were playing chess and you said 2 chess players, right? And you named the chess players and you put them in there, and then so you just sat there and watched the chess game going on.
Well, I could understand that if you're trying to learn the game. But if you're talking about just for pure entertainment,
and for pure whatever was tingling in his brain,
you should have unplugged the system and hit him in the face with it.
He would just beat your ass if you did that. He was addicted to football. There's nothing. When you talk that Tom, the character that you do,
Bobby Patterson.
Bobby Patterson. Take Tom Brady out, but just make it football. Just say football. And that's him.
Well, first of all, kid, you can't. That's a wicked idea. There's no football without the God, without the greatest Anglo-Saxon, cliff chin, blue-eyed, perfect hair, God, white man that's ever been produced, kid. That's blasphemous. Don't ever say that again.
Well, and the worst part is he was from Detroit, so Detroit was his team.
No, those fucking.
And he, what
do they call them? The Detroit Tigers?
Yeah.
You might as well call them the Detroit Monkeys, because I've been to Detroit. It's a lot of swinging going on there.
Dude, he would be...
It's like the black guys to their own branches, and they swing from each other's sticks. It's insanity, kid. It's wicked.
Going back to the serious part of this, sir, how Tom Brady would throw a remote?
Like a football.
Yeah, that's how he would be after a Detroit game. He would be so angry you couldn't talk to him. He'd be mad. He was just such an angry football guy. We were watching a football game, and I did like Kenny Stabler from the Raiders, and they were playing. I don't know who they were playing, and my dad said, "Well, who do you like?" And I said, "Well, I like Kenny Stabler." I was a little older, and I said, "I like Kenny Stabler. I like Oakland." So he took the other team, and we're at the house, my grandparents' house. and he was winning the whole game, and then Oakland came back. It was to win the game, and he was pissed, and he blamed it on me because I was rooting for that team, for Oakland.
I once had a friend named Leroy Jenkins, black guy from Detroit. I remember me and my cousin Earl. We went over to Leroy's house in Detroit. The team loses. He proceeds to beat up his wife and kids. My cousin Earl was like, "Oh my God, can you believe what he's doing?" I went, "He's black. That's what they do. They beat up their kids and their wives." Savages, kid. I'm telling you, Tom Brady's a god. I know that when I get to heaven and you open up the pearly gates, it's going to be in a football field. Tom Brady, he's to die for. The name's Bobby Patterson, by the way.
Well, my dad was very white and very angry when he lost. When football.
You said he was Italian, right?
Yeah, he's Italian.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, his dad was from Sicily.
When they talked about Belichick cutting Kozer, and they said that the fans were so mad, he was getting death threats, and he had to have security or police near his house.
Kozer was the team, though.
Yeah. And
he was the franchise.
And, Cleveland, that's all they got.
Yeah.
So, but when this happened, they showed the footage of the fans doing mock lynchings where they lynched dummies, and they would put the face of Belichick on one side, and on the other side was Modell. They showed where the fans were ripping up the seats from parts of the stadium or something. And I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. I got to get a little racial. You don't ever see black people doing that. Mock lynchings, ripping up seats, threatening people's lives. And this is why I go sometimes with white people. You just have a history of just mayhem and chaos and violence.
You say that so.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen heard of black people threatening a coach, players, owners, doing mock lynchings, ripping up seats?
Threatening coaches, yeah. There's players.
I've never seen one.
No, there's players, but not on the open like that. They've threatened coaches before.
Where? When? Who?
In football, they've talked about it.
Give me an example. When?
I don't even know. I know that I've heard the story that players.
From where? Who?
Coaches and players have gotten into fights before.
Okay, players and coaches. But no.
Okay.
Players and coaches, which can happen because they're in a
heated
confrontation
yeah.
and it's physical.
Yeah.
I'm talking about fans.
No, I've
never heard of black fans going, "I'm going to kill the coach.
No.
I'm going to kill the player." Never.
It's
not in our nature. White people, y'all have been by nature. Y'all are violent and chaotic and destructive.
You didn't see any BLM marches where they were rioting and destroying and burning down places?
Who's about? Black folks?
Yeah.
Again, we talk. Well, first of all, with some of that BLM, I've heard. I don't know, but some of that was white people doing that with masks and disguise, trying to say that it was black people doing it when it really wasn't. And I'm sure, again, in a heated situation like any race and cop killings and all, there's going to be some fools.
Yeah, I hear you. There's a difference between that though and getting mad about a football game.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
This is not real. This is not life changing.
No. And that's where I agree with you. I just wanted to make sure we were on the right lines here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it where. Now, I'm sure there's some black dudes in there that are fans that have done it. I'm not saying that.
Cursing, yes. Yes.
But when I see this, and then the Modell dude, and then he says, "I'm going to move the team." Man, I'm lucky. I'm surprised any of the stadium stood after he moved the team. They wanted to kill this guy.
They wanted to kill the guy, but they ain't going to up the stadium because, again, that's all that Cleveland has.
Well, yeah, and then this team left, so they didn't even have that for a while.
Right.
But Kozar was Cleveland. He was the winner. He was the guy, and that was a tough one because you have a new coach, and he's a young coach, and they don't trust him. They trust Bernie.
And let me backtrack again. Not all white people. Okay, I got that. I'm just saying it goes back to my genius saying. Black people go, "Hey, not all white people are racist, but as a race, you guys are known for racism." So what I'm saying is, not all white people, but in y'all's history, destruction, mayhem, violence, chaos, y'all come from that, man.
I don't push back on you on this because I don't disagree with you, except that you don't realize the totality of history. The people who had power, whatever moment of that time, are always the most violent.
Okay.
But we'll go on because I want to stay on football. This tribalism, and I haven't been trying to talk about it on stage. Tribalism, like you go to and I said this about baseball. I use this baseball because the best example I have is a story that I heard. It was a few years ago that it was Los Angeles Dodgers were playing the Angels, I think is what it was. And after the game or during the game, there were some fights in the stands, and then it went out to the parking lot, and some people got stabbed, and I think one person died, or at least was very critically injured and had to go to the hospital. And I always think it's funny because the teams are the people that represent each team are fighting in the stands for the players on the field of their team because they represent their team. But after the game's over, those guys are out there. The people are fighting, and the people that played baseball together, they went out to dinner together. You're fighting and stabbing and killing somebody over your tribalism, but the people who were playing went to dinner together because you didn't realize that you weren't on the team that you thought you were. You think you're on the Dodgers or you think you're on the Angels team. You're on the fans team.
That's why I'm going back again to when they show the guy in the stands making the face and the camera. Like, calm the down.
Well, some of that is to get on TV. Some of that is to be seen.
No, but some of that that's who them motherfuckers are.
Yeah, maybe, but a lot of them get on TV and they like it. They become local people.
Okay, they're like trolling.
Yeah.
I got that. And you know, if that's what your goal is, fine, you succeeded. But there's so many of them dudes who, without a camera being in their face, are that riled up. Like, this is a bar fight. You just hit my boy, and now I'm about to beat out you with my boy. Like, dude, it's a game, man.
Well, you know, it's almost like, though, some of these guys, this is the extension of where they left off. Like, some of them played college ball, but they couldn't.
And they rocked in college.
Yeah.
And they rocked in high school.
And they couldn't get any further. So now they put on the uniform.
And this imaginary uniform and these imaginary cleats, and now they're out there on that field with them.
Yeah.
Losers.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's the wildest thing to people to get this tribal over something that they're not part of.
Dude, I would just feel like a schmuck. Like, dude, what are you doing?
You're
At the end of the day, I'm not receiving a paycheck. You know, none of this is paying my bills. How can I be that invested?
Because you're on Team Fan and you think you're part of the team.
I don't get fantasy football.
No, well.
So you like a make believe GM, and you putting together some make believe teams to do what?
I never played this either, but there is a competition to be able to draft players and then figure out a way to make yourself a winning team.
It's like you're a grown man playing with dolls.
Yeah, well, they figured out a way to make them.
So let me explain this to me, because I'm learning as you tell me. So you're like a GM, you draft players, right?
Yeah, you draft players,
and you put together a team.
Yeah, within a league, you have
with
a
league of other people playing with dolls.
Yeah.
Okay, and ultimately, what happens?
Well,
what's the end game?
Okay, the end game is your players that you pick allows you to amass points, and then at the end of the season, I guess whoever has the most points wins the league, wins the championship. Mm-hmm. But you have to.
What's the championship? What do you get?
Usually, depending on who it is and who you're playing with, people put money in for a team.
Okay, so you could win a bunch of money.
Yeah, you can win the money.
All right, that makes it better.
Yeah, you buy your team, whether it's $1 or $500.
Because if it was to just get a pat on the back and a T-shirt,
no,
I'm like, dude.
And then you have to. Then people get hurt, so you have to put them on injured reserve.
The imaginary people get hurt.
Yeah, no, real people get hurt.
Okay.
So now your imaginary player that you have that on your team.
You got to take them out.
You got to take them out. Then you got to go back into the draft and see who's available. You go see who's available. There's sportsmanship behind this. You have to figure out some things, but it's definitely like it's definitely a paper championship. But you got to figure out. It's almost like a little like Vegas betting. Who's going to get the most yards? Who's going to get this? When you go to Vegas, but it's in a team form, and so there's some skill behind it. You got to know about the players. You got to know about everything that's going to happen in the game in order to, even on how much yards a defense is giving or offense you're going to run.
Well, you have to have a deep love for this shit.
There's people that love this, but I think I'm not positive. But I thought it started with baseball because baseball was that sport where you played it. The statistics in baseball are so tracked, that you have all this information about every player, everything that happens. So I thought it started with there, and then it came to football, and football just blew up when it got to football.
You know, I could just hear people going, "Whoa, you on fantasy football, but you play Madden, you play in a video game, you know." But to me, the gratification in that is like it's a game,
And you're
you
playing
can
another
win.
person, though. But
Yeah, and you're playing against another person, and ultimately, whether it's checkers, chess, a Uno, you're playing to win. So the gratification of knowing that you beat someone else's intellect is that's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, but it's over and done. This is a whole season. You're doing this. You're doing this for a season when you play fantasy.
Right. The same length of a football
Yeah.
season?
Yeah, you have to, because you're following it the whole way through.
Yeah.
It's weekly. You got to pay attention to yeah, it's a lot, man. I couldn't do that. I have no interest in doing it.
When Tom Brady won that first Super Bowl against the Rams, and I remember I actually watched that game because this is where I go. I'm not a football guy, but you know what? I get it. Super Bowl,
Barbecue.
It's an event. It's chips, dips, wings, people. So yeah, I'll
It's a social commitment.
yeah, I don't mind a party,
Yeah.
you know, so I'll join a party. But when they broke it down in the doc, and Drew Bledsoe, again, this is Drew Bledsoe saying to Tom, you know what, man, I know what coach wants you to do, but that you're not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. As a team, we're not supposed to be here. Go for it. And he goes for it. Wow. And again, Drew being in the position he was, for him to have the attitude of, we're here, we're gonna win this as a team, even though I was the guy, and I'm not, and now I'm talking to the guy who's taking my job, and I'm with him in terms of the energy and the let's go. That's wow.
He knows if he wins, he gets a ring. And if Tom doesn't listen to the coach, and Tom doesn't listen to the coach, and he f***ed up, he might get his job back next year.
Thinking like a Jew. I love it. You cunning.
He might, though, right?
Right.
But I don't know that it felt legitimate the way he said it.
But if you win a ring that way,
yeah,
are you just as satisfied?
No, not at all, because you had. Okay, I want to make sure I say this the right way, because I believe I'm right on this. I could be completely wrong. If you're the starting quarterback and you lose your job because the guy behind you outplayed you, but you still came in, you helped win a game, you helped get him to that championship, and you got that ring, at the end of the season, I think you're satisfied in the fact that you were on the winning team, you were a part of it, you brought him to that level, and you won some games that made it possible. If you're the guy who gets hurt and you had it in you, and you feel like
and you were doing good,
and you feel like you lost your job because you got hurt and you couldn't get back in it, nah, I think you're pissed, because you wanted that. You wanted to take them there.
Right.
But there is situations where you get a little older maybe, and that other person behind you, and you came in and gave them that great game so they can get to the championship, and you finally get that ring. I think then that's just how it went, and you can live with that. I think it's hard. That's why I'm so impressed by Bledsoe, because he had it in him to do it.
Right.
But you feel like when you talk to him, when they're talking to him, I feel like he's genuine about everything that he said. Yeah, you could tell it stings, but I think everything that he said was genuine.
Since we're on this note, still staying on football, but let me switch it to something else real quick. You saw the 30 for 30 about the Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Remember when Walter Payton was upset? They won the Super Bowl.
Yep, and he didn't get a touchdown.
Right, he didn't get a single play call for him to get a touchdown, and he was upset. And I forget which player it was, but one player was like, "Hey man, we won a Super Bowl. What are you complaining about? We won a Super Bowl." But then another player was like, "Look, man, Walter got us here, and for the coach not to call a play for him, it's kind of wrong." So who's right? Who's wrong?
Well, I think you're right. You could still be right, and you can still be right. I think Walter Payton was right. My dad, who loved football, he was a Detroit fan, but loved Walter Payton. Walter Payton is a poster I had. My dad would bring me home football, and so I had some Detroit, but Walter Payton was a big one. I had that, and my dad was pissed after that game.
Really?
And I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But he was pissed. But what I see though is, you won the game. Yes. You have gotten a play called for you? Yes. Because they were short runs. That's what they were putting the fridge in to get those 2-yard runs.
Right.
And he was scoring. If he didn't score, they probably wouldn't. Maybe then they would have mixed it up. But he scored, so they won it. Yes. But Walter Payton he had big plays in the game. He just didn't have the touchdown plays. Did he? Was he important and integral to the team the whole year long? Yeah. So that ring is still his. He didn't get his name on the box score with a touchdown. He deserved it for everything that he did for the team. I heard later though from Coach, what's his name?
Dicker.
Yeah, Dicker said, he goes, yeah, I should have called a play for him. I wasn't even. And this is where you got to go. Is it team winning a championship and team? Where Dicker said, hey, I was right there on the goal line. I got a guy who weighs 400 pounds that can carry the ball in. I wasn't even thinking about him not having a touchdown.
Right.
I'm thinking about get the ball in. What's the best way to get the ball in without any problems? You hand it off to the 400-pound guy in. All he has to do is fall forward with a little bit of a clear path, and he's in the end zone. He goes, I wasn't even thinking about it. Looking back on it, yeah, I'm disappointed that I didn't do that. So now, was he really disappointed? Did he think about it? Did he think about it? I don't know. Dick and him seem to have a great relationship, so I don't think that it was intentional. I just think that in the heat of a game, and you're doing everything that you can win, it's not about the individual, it's about the team.
Coach Herman, you play the game to win.
But that being said, you still have personalities on the team. You have personalities that have to come back next year. And if you can call a play and still win the game and satisfy your team, you should be doing that too. And you're up. You should have called a play for Walter. So they're both right and wrong. Both the coach and the player are right and wrong on that one, I think. But I can make a great argument for Walter Payton.
I could not believe that Randy Moss and Tom Brady didn't win a championship together.
No.
At that time, probably, was he considered the greatest receiver at that? Because you had Terrell Owens, you had Ocho Cinco. But was Randy Moss considered?
He was tradable, so I don't know if they considered him the greatest receiver. He was fast, he was tall, he could get the ball. That ball that touches his fingertips.
Yeah.
If Tom Brady could have put another 12 to 18 inches on that ball, that's his. That's the touchdown. They're winning the game.
So is that Tom's fault?
I think Tom gave it everything that he had. You saw him plant that leg, and he threw that ball as far as he could.
Right.
And he's right there. I mean, they're all right there. I mean, if Moss could have maybe just – I know they're on a stride. He has to get into the end zone too. So he's trying to catch the ball and continue to get into the end zone. He can't just jump up, catch it, fall down. I think they're out of time if that happens. So he can't like high point the ball where he kind of jumps, turns, tries to grab the ball, and then – down it and then have another play. I think it's all or nothing at that play. It's just so close. It's just so close, and you see it go off his finger. The other dude, the dude defending it, tipped it, hit it with his finger, and just knocked it a little bit further. And then you see him, it just grazes off his hands. But that's another dude. There's some people in this world that I like. I started to think about this when I was watching this. There's people I would like to be able to sit down with and talk to and be able to hang out with. Only because I'm sure that Moss, it has to kill him that he doesn't have a championship.
And what better shot could he have had?
But when you talk to him, when he talks, does he sound like he's?
Oh, he sounds like a happy boy.
It doesn't sound. But Barkley.
Yeah.
But
let's go fish.
Barkley doesn't. Barkley will defend his career all the way, without having that championship. There's something about. I don't know what it is, but when you have you have to have an ego to get to that height. You have to. You have to believe in yourself so much to be able to say I'm the best, and then go out on the field and prove it against the best. There's the best. You're the best, but right across from you is the other best, and there's best all over the league.
I honestly thought I was the greatest player to ever play basketball, and then I told my daughter, I said, I think there might be a player better than me, and I love when he goes. We lost to the fastest gun. You know, do I have a problem losing to Michael Jordan? No, because I just lost. I'm a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger. I just lost to the fastest, the fastest draw.
Dude, it baffles me, man, because these guys, I mean, and they're playing. I mean, there's only so many people get to hold that trophy, man.
Yeah.
And for these guys to have that ego, to be that great, to have that kind of skill level, and you got to imagine though, this doesn't start in the NFL as a professional. This started when you were in Pee Wee football, and from Pee Wee football, then you started playing other football little leagues. And then you got into high school, and you're playing high school ball as a freshman, and then you're the best. You're the best as a freshman. You get drafted to college. You go to college, you leave as one of the best. That's how you get drafted into the NFL, and then for the NFL, you become one of the best, and you're making millions of dollars, and you're having all this success. And that ball goes off your fingertip.
Well, isn't that the same game where they were almost going to have? If they won the Super Bowl, they have the perfect season, 19-0, and they lost to the Giants. And remember, that's the one with Tyree
on the helmet couch.
And again, that was another game I watched, and I'll never forget because prior to that, the hype was one more win, and they're perfect, 19-0. So, and because that was a Super Bowl, again, I attended a party. And I'm just like, I remember everybody's jaw was on the floor when dude caught that ball on top of his helmet. And in this, which, you know, we didn't notice till Tom pointed it out in this doc, when Tom goes, you know what's crazy about that catch too? He goes, he almost fumbled it. And there were 3 Patriots around him. So if that ball bounces off his helmet, there's 3 Patriots to intercept that. So not only did he make an incredible, amazing, how did you do that catch? But yeah, if that ball bounces,
yeah, they're going to catch it.
They win that game.
It's an unbelievable, because you just think when you're watching it, I've watched that, I remember the game. You just think even if the defender moves his helmet,
right,
that the ball shoots out because he can't. How is he holding
right.
the helmet and the ball
right.
at the same? Because those don't work together. The ball is oblong, the helmet is
right.
round. That ball should have squirted out.
Listen, I don't know if there's a sports god, but if there is, he didn't like the Patriots, because that's crazy. The ball just off the tips of Randy Moss on a comeback last second chance. Tyree catching the ball off his helmet. 3 Patriots around there that could get the interception should it bounce off. And everything just worked to the Giants' favor.
And honestly, listen, I'm not on the Giants. I don't have a problem with the Giants. But I just didn't see how
Nobody did.
They weren't supposed to win that game. Even when they won the game, they weren't supposed to win the game.
Right. But it was mind-blowing because I think it was, what's my man's name? Michael Strahan. I remember this like it was yesterday. He was at the podium after they won the game, and he goes, we didn't have the perfect season, but they didn't either. Wow. and you almost go, and you kind of know the answer to this. Is it better to go 18-0 and then you don't win the big one, or is it better to have the Giant season where you don't necessarily have the great season, but you win it all?
I think it's better to win it all and not have the great season.
Yeah.
To come that close and to lose the big game has to be the worst.
Right.
You might as well give up a few games. And that's kind of some of the things that they talk about. Do you rest players? Do you give them a rest? Do you go ahead and give away that? But you're right there. You want to have the perfect season too, but would you have been better off to rest some players, get some players healthy, get some players ready to go?
Well, I think the one that was the most unhealthy, I mean, it still speaks to your point, was Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Because he had a boot on. So yeah.
But
is Tom, if there is someone to blame, is Tom to blame?
No.
Okay, so.
No, there's no. Listen, if you have a great coach and you have a great team and you go and you win all the games this season, you win all the playoff games, and you're just waiting to win the Super Bowl win, can you honestly look at your players and go, not the playoff games, sorry, can you go in after winning all the regular season's games and you got one game left and you go, guys, we're right here, we're on the doorstep. Should we just take this game off? No player is going to say, let's take it off. They're going to go, no, let's go. Let's go. You got the foot on the gas. Let's keep going. You're not going to rest a player. Maybe though the coach goes, okay, let's go in, let's go. We'll see where we are at halftime. If this game is ours, then we win it. If it's not looking great, let's go home and let's get ready for for the playoffs. That's what I don't know. But as a coach, you don't tell your team you can't win because that's the worst thing you can say to a team is you can't win.
Right.
So we're going to take this game off? I don't know. That's the hardest thing to do. And I see the sports analysts, and they're saying, yeah, they should rest the team. They should do this. They should do this. The only team that does it is basketball. Football does not do it because there's only such a few amount of games in football.
Yeah.
But in basketball, there's so many games, game management.
Well, let's be really honest about game management. You said game management. Basketball is a different beast in that regard. And listen, this rest management, this is current.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s and the 90s, you played.
Yeah.
Michael played.
But there's a reason why they don't play anymore. Now, Michael wasn't Michael made. What did I just call him? What did I name him? Michael made.
Michael never did game management.
Michael never made his money until the very end of his career playing basketball. He made it on endorsements.
And so it don't seem like I'm dick riding Michael. Let me not say Michael. Everybody from the 80s and 90s played. They didn't do rest management in the 80s and 90s.
No, but because of that, there's a lot of shorter careers. Like Bird's career could have been better had they had some rest management. Had they?
Well, that's because he wasn't like the big black thighs. He was a white guy. He didn't have the big black thighs with the big black butt, and he was more susceptible to the injuries as a white guy.
So all that being said, these are multi-million-dollar players that they're banking on. And they want to rest them. They want to make sure their health is tip top, and then they're going to keep them as healthy as possible for as long as possible. Because no matter what, sports as a profession is a short window. We can go become accountants for the next 40 years. No one has a problem with a 40, 50-year run as an accountant, but you don't get to do that in football. You don't get to do that in basketball. In basketball, you're playing offensive defense the whole game that you're in. You don't switch. There's not breaks after every tackle where we line back up and we take a few seconds. I mean, this is it's all out. I'm not knocking basketball when I said it, but basketball is the one that has really is the only sport that I know. Baseball is naturally that way because pitchers take rest. They have to. They're not supposed to play every game. So you can rest someone because you have other players, and it's an open spot. Someone not playing in the outfield may not be integral to the game, depending on how the other team's bat. Whatever. There's reasons why baseball works. Football is one where you could use a little rest because they say they don't care who it is at the end of the season. Everybody's hurt.
Yeah.
You might say, like you said, Tom Brady's in a boot, but everybody's hurt. Everybody has injuries, nagging injuries that are bothering them all throughout the season. And it's about just managing that. So yeah, you wanted to. You're thinking that's what the sportscasters say. Take some time off. Why are you going to run them? Why are you going to do them? Why are you going to take a chance of injury? You're going in. You got a nice. But it's because also that momentum and that flow. You don't want to lose that. You want to keep that going. I don't know.
Well, again, here's maybe something you can explain to me about sports, about football. And I kept saying his name wrong. It's Matt Castle, not Sam Castle.
Yeah.
This dude leads them to an 11-5 season, and they say they didn't make the playoffs. How do you not make the playoffs at 11-5?
Because other people were 12-4.
See, this is why I don't know football, because I'm thinking that is a hell of a record. That's a winning record, isn't it?
Yeah, but the division he was in was a great division, so the other people were winning more. So they didn't make the playoffs. And he played great.
He played damn good.
But how did he play afterwards?
Yeah.
He had some games, but this game is such a cruel game too because you have to, and this is where the Belichick thing comes in.
I was going to ask you real quick. So at 11-5, obviously people were like, it's the greatness of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Some might attribute it more to Belichick. Some might attribute it more to Brady. But now you take a guy like Sam Castle, who they said hadn't started in a game since high school. Is that the brilliance of Bill Belichick?
I think some of that. I think Castle's game is Bill Belichick because he is plugging them in. He's running plays, but Belichick, he would design the game plan around what Castle could do well, which was run the ball. That's what they were showing him, running the ball. And teams when they would prepare, they didn't have what kind of tape do you have on Castle? He hasn't started since high school. You don't got college tape on him even. So when you know what you have in Castle, the other team doesn't know what they have in Castle. And you also know that it's not the starting quarterback. So you're not preparing as well as you should at first. And now Castle's winning games, so now you're trying to prepare for him, but he's a running quarterback. And remember, at this time in the league, running quarterbacks were still kind of rare.
Yeah.
It wasn't like every quarterback was able to just pull the ball down and go take it off. And Brady, when you prepared for the Patriots, Brady was a pocket quarterback. You weren't preparing for him to run. And if he did run, that's a slow gazelle. You're going to get it.
Right.
So they had to prepare for him differently, and Belichick knew it, and he could prepare for the new team and how they were going to defend it, and how they were going to get him outside the pocket. So yeah, it is Belichick, but they played to what Castle could do. And so he had to change that. That's why Belichick is great. I mean, he was able to work with what he had. And that's the greatness of Belichick. That's why he could trade players, because then other players would come in and he would say, okay, this is what you do well. So let's tweak this here, move that there. He is a great coach. There's no denying he's a great coach.
Right.
But you wouldn't know he's a great coach if he didn't have players to put into those positions. And you need some consistent great players.
Well, between Brady, Bledsoe, again, Castle, Garoppolo, he's a very fortunate dude.
He's a great coach. He could get the most out of people. Some people, listen. I'm a Cardinals fan. I shouldn't say fan. I guess I'm a fan.
Arizona Cardinals,
yeah,
baseball.
Yeah, no, football. Arizona Cardinals. And that's because that's where I'm from. And they just don't coach quarterbacks. They can't bring quarterbacks up at Arizona. They can't. They're trying to right now, but I mean, when they had their big run.
When you say coach quarterbacks in Arizona, are you talking about on the pro level or college?
On pro level.
Right.
The reason they did so outstanding is when they got Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner was injured. They had
Kurt Warner from the Rams?
Yep, he came to Arizona. That's when Arizona went to his Super Bowls, when they had Kurt Warner. And Kurt Warner got healthy. They had some injuries.
Did Kurt Warner come to them first, or was he with the Rams?
He was with the Rams first.
Oh, okay.
He got injured in the Rams, and then he was replaced eventually after his Super Bowl win.
Right.
And he unceremoniously disappeared because that was another great coach, Coach Marks, I think is what it is. And that coach let him go because he got hurt. He couldn't play, and he was pretty much done. He was a backup, and he ended up getting traded to Arizona for, I guess, experience. And he's sitting in the background, and then he got a chance to play. And Arizona, one of the great things about Arizona is we have great sports medicine in Arizona. We have great doctors out there, and they worked on him. They fixed him up, and they got him ready to go. And once his body could match his mind, he was back. And they went on this unbelievable run as a wild card team to get to the Super Bowl.
They didn't win it.
They didn't win it. Pittsburgh, unbelievable at the very end of the game. There was like a minute 30. I don't even know how much time it was. It was in the 2 minutes, and there was too much time on the clock, and they couldn't hold them. But they had to get a great quarterback. They don't bring quarterbacks up. I don't know what it is about Arizona. So to get a great quarterback, it is exceptional to get a great quarterback. But it's not even about greatness. It's about not just the physical ability. It's the mental ability. And that's what you have with somebody. Just find people who are just refuse to lose. When you talk about this, when you talk about Brady being a GOAT, and then you look at Jordan being a GOAT, how they played the game. They only play the game to win. They don't play the game they don't even play the game to win. They play the game to beat you.
I refuse to lose. Can the drummer get wicked? Dude, Aaron Hernandez, you have to be a special breed of stupid to squander all that opportunity and wealth just because you can't part ways with the street life. Some motherfucker was about to get a $40 million contract, already had a big, beautiful home in Manchester. What the is wrong with this dude, man?
You can't stay close to home. You can't. If you have that kind of past, you have to get away from home. You have to get away from home.
But do you honestly think him getting away from home
yes.
You don't think he still would have been stupid?
He might have brought out some of his boys, but then that's when you say, "Hey, we're out of that. Let's not around. I have a good
What
career.
does that say about your boys when they go, yo, listen, nobody should mooch off you, or try to be opportunistic if that's your friend. But wouldn't you think, yo, if we his boys and we make sure he don't wild out, then that gives us a chance to maybe have him spread the wealth, and we can ride his coattails, and what he eat, we eat, where he go, we go. It make our lives better.
Yeah, but they already have their lives.
Yeah, I know, but why f around and make the golden goose?
Because you're already in your own lane, and you already have things coming to you. And what now? He's going to leave, and he's going to go. Oh, now he's too good to do what he did with us. This is what we do. This is what we do. Why? So now that you're a pro, now that you play football, you think you're better. You're not going to roll with us this way. This is what we did. This is what we do. Got to leave. You got to leave. You got to leave. Success.
And when you say leave, you mean leave everybody behind.
I won't even tell you which player it is. But I'm going to tell you who it is. I'm the greatest thing that I ever saw. I know a basketball player from the U of A. He had boys all over, man. Just cool dudes, though. But, people that were, I don't want to say hanger-oners, but everybody was looking at the U of A. Basketball was king, right? So if you knew a player and you got in with that player, that's good, And if he trusted you and you guys were cool, you could have something with that player. You could, you could become one of his, on his team, his management, whatever it is that he needed. But this one dude had a bunch of people around him, to all like, they, well done. You can come here. Dude just packed up when he got drafted. He played in the NBA. He just packed up his and he was gone. And everybody's like, we were supposed to come. He goes, I haven't talked to him. He ain't answering my calls. He was just like, nope, I'm done. I'm going here, and I don't know you.
Good boy. Good boy.
It's time for me to do my next level.
Is that because they were bad company?
No, they weren't necessarily bad company, but you meet someone in that 4 years that you're at Arizona, especially if you're not from. Let's say you're from the East Coast. I don't want to give away who this dude is, but let's say you're from the East Coast. You meet all these West Coast people.
Give it away. Give it away.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
And then you get accused of some things that you didn't do. Well, number one, I'll never forget this dude. It was his like first or second night there, and they put him up in a nice hotel, and he's calling everybody. Hey, I don't know, something weird's going on. He didn't know what coyotes were. Coyotes were like. Coyotes, yeah, because the place they put them up was in the hills where it was all desert. So there's coyotes just yapping at the moon,
right.
Doing the oh.
Yeah.
He was like calling his mom. I don't want to be here.
Right.
And they figured it. He figured it out, and he did his 4 years. But all these people were new to him, and they didn't.
So they weren't really his boys.
No, and he could see it. When you
well then yeah.
No, I'm just saying. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Because I liked him. I liked the dude. I hung out with him sometimes, but I wasn't trying to be one of his boys.
Yeah.
But then he just picked up. I said, "What happened to?" He goes, "I don't know, man. We were supposed to."
Yeah, that's like, dude. If you meet a girl and you like, she ain't wifey material, but I'm gonna have my fun, and then when you're done, you arrivederci. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But somebody you really care about, you come up with, you grow up with, you don't just abandon them.
One of his guys was really tight with him, and I thought
unless they're a detriment to.
No, he wasn't a detriment. He was really thought he goes. They were really they had hung out since he got there, and he was with them for the 4 years, and he thought that that they were going to that he was going to be at least part of his team. Maybe, but and I think what hurt him was. It wasn't that if he would have said, man, I got a team. I'm going to go do this. Hey, man, we're going to stay close. But dude just ghosted him, didn't even call him. And I don't know if they ever got back in touch. But, after a year, I know that he hadn't. So, but he did what was best for him. And
as most people should do what's best for you.
But see, you have to have that resolve to do what's best for you. And not everybody does do that. And Aaron Hernandez needed to get away from everybody. When they drafted him, it was cool that they thought that they had the people in place but they really didn't have the people in place. Everybody has their own life, you're just because you're a great athlete and you're gonna you're going to be on a team that has direction and older people, younger people, and we're going to. No, that isn't going to do it. I would never have drafted him to be that close to his hometown if he had those kind of problems. If I was in San Diego.
What did you think about when he said to Belichick, "Yo, I want to leave. Can you get me out of here for the safety of myself and my?" Did he have family then?
Yeah, for me and my family.
For me and Belichick said, "No, I'm not moving you."
I think that Belichick was, again, and this is where you go, where you're a coach and it's the business and you're looking at the team. For the team, moving him would have been horrible because Belichick built this offense around the idea of having two big tight ends that could catch the ball and block and at least
him and Gronkowski.
Yeah, but at least,
Gronkowski.
Yeah, but Hernandez was the one who would block more. He built the team around that idea, the offense around that. So he didn't want to trade him. I don't know, that's what was said, that he said that to him. Did he say it in the way, listen, this isn't a matter of football. This is a matter of life and death. I'm in trouble. I need to get out of here. Did he say that to him? Because I don't know that Belichick understood. And I'm only saying this because I don't know. If I was looking at my $40 million player that was about to get $40 million, has a nice house, a wife, a kid, cars, and about ready to take this next step, am I thinking this dude is running around with gangbang drug dealers and in this kind of trouble? Am I realizing that? This is so far away from Belichick. Does he realize what he's saying to him? I'm not saying he shouldn't have been more active and saying, well, what's so wrong that you really, maybe that's where it should have went. But I don't think that a coach at that level, having players that he's worked with his whole career, never having that kind of situation, I don't know that he understood exactly.
Had he understood that and still said no, does that make him a dick?
If he had understood that, he should have. You know what? I would have today. I think that the player would have gone. I don't know if they would have got traded. I think he would have got. They would have taken him off the team. I think that they would have got him out of it, and maybe some counseling help to see where he was at. Because that's what they do. Counseling. Let's see what's really going on with this gentleman. Where are the struggles? And I think they would have done that for him and go, okay, well, we gotta do something about this. And then he could either got traded or he could have got some help and moved away from this. But this is one of the problems in the league when you're a young man who has other influences around you, and now all of a sudden you have millions of dollars. You're a target too.
Dude, if I got $40 million, man, I'm having a whole police force with me in terms of protection. Like, you can afford to work out your problems.
Yeah, but you also have people that are going to cause you problems. And, now what are you selling? Are you sell out now? You selling out? What, do you get a check and now we're no good to you anymore?
Man, I am redefining words like sellout, tap dancing, and all kind of other every day. Every day in my head. What is selling out?
I think that if you have, if people are coming up to you and go, listen, you're a pro prospect, you have to redefine all your definitions before that day even comes.
Yeah.
But they should have, if they made all these guys go to college, right? And they're football players, or let's just say athletes. You make athletes go to college so that they can become professionals. But you don't give them a class. You give them a class for English. You give them a class for history. You give them but you're not going to give them this class for professional.
There actually are certain classes that I think pro athletes do take, but I think most of that is financial, like help with your money.
How about life and mental experience?
Right.
You are no longer going to be worried about paying your rent. You're going to be worried about paying a mortgage. You're going to be worried about other people wanting you to buy them a house. You're going to have a different life. You're not able to go across. You're not going to be able to have dinner by yourself without being looked at as an entity outside of a person. I remember when this one dude got drafted to the Suns, and I was there. I was at a restaurant, and he just got drafted. He might have been in town for a week, right? And I went. I'm just sitting eating dinner, and the dude with me who's a comic, by the way, but kind of a sports nut, goes, "Hey, that's the dude you guys just drafted." And I go, "You sure?" Because yeah, it's him. Yeah, him. I'm talking, a week later, he's visible. You don't get a class for that, because this is changing your whole life. You imagine thinking, and I'm being really honest. You come from a different area of life where people look at you the wrong way, and it's a problem. Now everybody's looking at you when you're sitting at a table, eating dinner. There's no class for that. And I mean, honestly, there's no way that you bring people in and go, "Listen, your life is about ready to change." I don't mean change like just money. I don't mean fight. I mean everything's going to change. People are going to know what kind of underwear you're buying. You don't think that that's necessary to let people understand?
No, I think it's a good idea. You have to prepare them for that life.
That's life is a struggle for some people.
Dude, listen. You know how you got on me the other day when you were like, "Yo, that thing where you go, that Paul Mooney you was telling me." He was like, "You gotta put that. You gotta do that." Andy, I'm telling you, I'm not being funny. You need to copyright potential.
Potential?
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I'm not being funny. That's such a great
potential, yeah.
Potential. Like, and it just, I couldn't gel better. It gels as good as peanut butter and jelly, because it's like you have potential, as most professionals do, but you're also going to be a pro. Potential.
That's the name of the class, the potential.
Copyright that, Andy. Now you're laughing. I'm dead ass.
No. I know you're serious.
Because if you don't do it in 2 weeks, I'm gonna.
Okay, one of us needs to do it. You'll probably be the one to do it, because you know why?
I'm a goddamn genius.
Because you have potential.
Oh, I thought I was. Well, they're both, nigga. My only other note left on this is, dude, when they got to the part about how all three of them, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady, were friends and supporters of Trump, and one of the black players goes, a lot of people saw us as a white team. Obviously, we're led by Tom Brady. We got Bill Belichick, and then, of course, Robert Kraft being the owner. But yet, a mass majority of the players in the NFL are black, and we're supporting players kneeling because they're supporting black people who are being murdered by police and injustice. So my question was, wouldn't you think that Brady, Belichick, and Kraft would be a little bit more sensitive to that, given that they're in this league that is predominantly black and they're sharing a locker room with predominantly black players? Wouldn't you think they would want to distance themselves a little bit from Trump? Well, and Tom Brady not have a MAGA hat in his locker?
Well, this is where it becomes truth, right? That's Tom Brady. That's who he is. Would you want? Let me ask you this way. Would you want that guy to be different?
No, I wouldn't want him to be different, but I would also think that if you're who you are, you're Tom Brady, you're the leader of the team, you're America's poster boy. But again, now we're going to throw around this word family. If we're supposed to be family and you care about us as your brethren, your darker brothers on this team, and you know why they are kneeling, would you, not about let me change who I am, but let me maybe adapt to who they are and what they're going through.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. But I'm just saying, you don't want Tom to change, but you want Tom to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how. And how do you do that? And so this is, and I didn't know that we were going to have this discussion, but here's like some of the thoughts that I have, because I'm not.
I'm sorry. Keep your thought, but just real quick. And when the one black player that's on camera is going, and here you have the guy going, "Get those sons of off the field," and then they cut to, white fans in the stands going, "Yeah, if they're not going to respect our country and blah 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 blah." You know what I mean? So, but you were going to say,
yeah, It's my, like, I ride this fence that I see happening, because I'm not a Trump supporter, but I do believe that you should be able to support Trump if you want to support Trump. And that my problem with it is almost like if you support Trump, you're a horrible person. No, you just believe in some of his policies. Now, are there people that are horrible people that support Trump? Yeah, there are. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you believe in his policies and you think that's the best and that's what you're doing, that's fine. But you also have to have empathy for the people that don't feel that way, number one. And you also have to be able to distance yourself from when and see other people's opinion when he says things like those southern. Now, somebody could say, well, he wasn't talking about black players. He was talking about players that take a knee. Well, that was primarily black players. So,
and why are they kneeling?
Yeah, and why, and not understanding why. This gets really complicated, and it shouldn't be that complicated, but it is complicated because taking a knee, a protest at a football game, I think that I had no problem with it. I wrote something really great about it that I'm still very proud of. But to take a knee at the game when is the only time socially that you can actually do something to have a quiet protest and be able to demonstrate your feelings without being disrespectful. And I hate when this whole knee thing comes up because who's the quarterback that got drafted by Denver and then didn't make it though, but he was a real religious guy. He's on TV all the time now too. Do you know who I'm talking about though?
I was going to say, I know that we just mentioned
he played in Florida too, I think. Did he play in Florida? Anyway, he was very religious, and when he would always take a knee in prayer, and no one ever complained about him doing it. So, in a quiet protest to take a knee about something that you feel is something that needs some attention, and you're doing it in not a disrespect. I don't understand how this became disrespectful. There's many people that take knees who can't stand for the national anthem, and I think that's kind of. I felt taking a knee when you're saying I can't stand. I'm as a man. I can't stand because if I do, I'm going to be taken down. Basically, is how I felt this was. This is the protest to me in my head is I can't stand up because if I do, I can be taken down. So I'm taking this knee, and it's representative. I still respect my country. I'm not burning the flag. I'm not flipping the flag off. I'm not turning my back on the. I'm taking a knee. I'm showing you that I can't even stand. I want to stand for this country. I believe in the country. There's the flag right there, but I can't even stand because someone's going to knock me down. Someone's going to kick me in the back of the neck. Someone's going to take my life from me. That's what that was to me. So if that's what it is, Tom Brady, the coach, and the owner have to be able. But this is the hard part. You want to say, yeah, I understand your feelings about this, but I respect what he's trying to do on this level. And you go, yeah, but look what it's doing to us. But you can't have this conversation. And this is why I used to get so mad at the media, why I still get mad at the media, is it because it made it an us against them mentality, and that's not what this should have been. We should have been able to have a conversation to go, hey, maybe you don't even have Trump right now. If you would have had a conversation where you would have said, now, we're not looking for someone that wants to divide the country. And I don't think that it was necessarily him wanting to divide the country. I just think that it's his ego and the way that he speaks and not caring about anybody else but what he thinks. But some of the policies were good. But if we could have said, we want these policies, but this is not the face that we want to have it, we might not have a Trump. Because if the media wouldn't try to divide the people and would have said, this is not the politician we want someone with these ideas, but not this politician, maybe we would have got to a different place. Maybe we wouldn't be here again. We're here again.
Okay, I want to keep this about football. And this is like I said, this was my last note, so we're basically done. But again, the problem that I have with what you say is you quickly go, it's the media. And I got to go back to where I go. Yeah, the media is showing it to you, but before the media can show you anything, it first needs to be said. And it's being said by somebody who is lighting a very dangerous fuse. Because again, when you cut to his supporters, football fans, and you see the venom and the anger in which they say, yeah, if they don't respect this flag and blah, 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 and they're making it about the flag when it ain't about the flag. It's about black people being murdered. So what I'm saying is, when you got a guy like Donald Trump saying, get those sons of off the field, in his base or his fans or football fans that already probably are coming from a racist place, that validates it. That validates it, and Trump can in some way become the scapegoat that they can hide behind to where they don't want to go, well, my real feelings are we don't give a shit about black people being killed, because if you did, then you would understand the need. But because you're a racist and you don't want to put yourself on Front Street as a racist, now you got a guy like Trump saying what he's saying, which feeds into who you really are, but now you don't have to openly admit you're just racist.
Okay.
And that's dangerous.
But again, you said it's not the media. But let me do two things for you here, what I was trying to say in this. If you could have had that conversation, and then the other side of the conversation would have said, but look at this, and look at what he said. And then Kraft and the whole team could have came out and go, yeah, we need to call Trump out. I may be his friend, but he's wrong on this. That's what Trump needed. That's what Trump.
And that should have came from Robert Kraft and Belichick and Brady.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
But we can't have this conversation because the conversation always blows up into a different conversation. And then this is what I said, because I blame the media. Because, for instance, and let's just do this, and I'm not saying that Trump is a good guy. Let's get past that Trump is. We can all agree that this is not. This isn't what I want representing me. Okay. Let's just get that there. But when you have media that when Trump says there's good people on both sides. And what he said is, there's good people on both sides. Not the racists, he said, not this, but people. And he was talking about the people that believed in this and the people who believed in the other side, but not the racist part. He said those words. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting. And the media puts out every day, good people on both sides, the rapist, and not the rest of the quote. If I came out and said to you, if I said this to you, as a whole, black people aren't good. I think they're great. And my quote was, I think black people are good. I don't think black people are good. And they just put it there. This is a little hyperbolic because Trump didn't even get that close. Trump was.
I know where you're going with this, with in terms of context being taken out of it.
But and I don't think that. And my problem with Trump is he knows that this is what's going to be done, and he doesn't do anything to fix it or come back and say. He says the dishonest media. No, then say what you mean, Trump.
Okay, and he said what he meant when he went get them sons of off the field, which wasn't taken out of context.
Not at all.
That is his quote.
But he didn't say get those black sons of off
Did
the
he
field.
have to?
Yeah.
Or he might as well have.
But when you go when the team is 80%, when the NFL is 80% black, and you're saying get them someone off the field, then yeah, isn't that what you're saying? But that's why I said then Tom Brady. The only one I saw who wasn't it the Cowboys that everybody came out and took a knee, or did Kraft come out and take a knee with everybody?
I don't recall.
It
could be. You could be right. I don't.
Some
recall.
team
I don't remember.
did, but it was also the duty of people that have Trump's ear like Kraft to go, listen, man. I respect what you're trying to do, America, putting America back as a priority, getting more conservative over certain policies. It makes sense to us. But we don't live in that world. It's just that easy, man. We have people that you are offending, and this is how you're offending them. Do you not understand what your words mean? Because Trump isn't going to listen to me. He ain't going to listen to this podcast and hear this being said. But Robert Kraft is his friend. Can I read your letter? Well,
the letter was from Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick. Yeah. Bill, can I read the letter? Hey, man, I want you to read the letter, but I got to talk to you before you read the letter. You know what you're doing to me. You know I have a team that is 80%. 80% of my team is black, and the way that you say things, you are misconstrued. If you really believed in Donald Trump and you're Bill Belichick, you're not going to say, but you're misconstrued. The media makes you this way, but not because the media is just making it. It's because of the way you say things. I want you to read the letter because I do believe in you. I do respect you. I've been friends with you. I know who you are as a person. But the way you say things comes off so horrible. That might have been something someone like him could have heard.
I don't want you to read the letter, but I don't want to because what you're saying, people are going to misconstrue what you're saying. My players are 80% black, so do me a favor. If you're going to read the letter, just try to watch a little bit of what you say. I didn't hear anything you said.
But what I'm saying is people that were close to him. I read this interesting thing. This was years ago. This is before this election. Russell Simmons.
Right.
Well, we don't hear from anymore because he got in his own problems. But Russell Simmons used to say, like Trump, but he would say things, and the way that he thought, Russell said, man, this is a good person, but he just doesn't get certain things. Like it does, for whatever reason, it didn't click with him. And he would say things, and he would say, no, man. And then he would invite him to dinners so that he could experience some different things. And he wanted to educate Trump when he was just Trump. But when he was running for office, he didn't believe in him because he knew these things, these shortcomings that he had, the way that he looked at things or heard things or said things. I appreciate that in Russell Simmons, that, because you do, if you have someone that's generally your friend, and you hear them say something that just sounds, I argue with you here when I say it doesn't sound right, and you argue with me, we go back and forth. But I never want to send you out. Like I never want to send you out when I believe you're saying something truly that I feel in my heart is disingenuous to who you are as a person, and it's going to be taken wrong and misconstrued. And I would say that to you. I have said it to you. How do they? And when Russell Simmons is saying, yeah, I brought him in. I want him to meet these. I want him to understand. I want him to see it different. I want to hear it different. I want to express different. And taking the time because you like the person, you know who they are. You want to do that for them. You want to do that because you want to better the world that you live in. These guys are, if you're Tom Brady, if you're Robert Kraft, and especially Bill Belichick since he's in England, you got to say that to him, man, because you have a close knit. And then this is the question: are they just plug and play players, or are they actually family? Like to Belichick, are they actually people that you believe in, that you would have over your house for dinner, that you care about their kids?
They kept saying it, like family.
Then if that's your family,
did you see even before Aaron Hernandez got in trouble, there was several moments where players will come out of a game, shake Robert Kraft's hand, he's waiting on him, give him a little on the cheek.
Yeah. But then don't you owe it to your culture that it's a football culture, but it's the Patriot culture, the Patriot way, right? Don't you owe it to him to be able to say to the person that you do have a connection to, that is making policy, that is saying those 7 and say, hey, man, you really have to think about what you're saying and the way you're saying it, because these guys are out here fighting for their lives. Maybe not even their lives, but they're fighting for people that they know their lives are in jeopardy. And in cases, their lives.
I think, listen, I wasn't prepared for you to say that, but I think that's the best thing you said in terms of, and it made me go, yeah, that little adjustment, that little fix. Hey, man, Donald, we support you, but let me talk to you for a second.
How else does those little adjustments get made?
Right.
You need to hear from someone that you read that letter and you go, okay, he supports him. I can see why he supports him. I can understand supporting the ideas that he has. But dude, your idea is like it's like television. I can see the picture, but let's put this in 180 depth. Let's put this in 4K. Yeah. Now, do you see it a little bit better? Do you see it a little bit better?
Right.
I'm not saying that he shouldn't have already seen it better, but you have someone that is close enough to him that he's going to read that letter. Say something. I think that's the difference. That there's not enough people that, or the other truth is that Donald doesn't want to hear anything besides what he wants to hear.
And listen, if that ends up being the way he goes, well, then you can't help that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the message you then convey to your fellow players. Like, look, we talked to this, and he gonna do what he gonna do. So, but at least the team knows, they made a move, they made an effort.
And there's a point, and I don't, and this is minimal to me, but it's important. And when I say it's minimal, I only mean it's minimal because there's a real world here going on, and football is a very small part of the world that I live in. Right. But when the winner of the Super Bowl team doesn't want to come to the White House, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing to these people that they don't want to come to the White House? You have to ask yourself, they come for everybody. They came for Richard Nixon.
Right.
They came for, they've come to the White House.
Right.
Why don't they want to come to the what did I do? Did this guy ever watch game tape? What did I do? Let me let me see what I did that made them go, I'm not coming to the White House.
Right.
Is there ever that? Or how about maybe he calls up Robert Kraft and went, hey, why don't think I want to go to the White House? Okay, Donald, let me explain it to you.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he has had conversations. Maybe this is who he is. Maybe I think that I personally think he doesn't think about what he says before he says it, and he just says it, and then he has to live with what he did. Or maybe he actually thought this out really well.
Right.
And that's what he said. I don't know the answer to that. But yeah, I could see why this is what it's at. But I would still, there's people that I have that I don't like every one of their ideas, but I like them as the person and I'm still friends with them. But that doesn't mean I like everything. But this is a tough one because he has power.
Folks, it's called Dynasty. It's on Apple TV. It's a 10-piece about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It is the football's version of The Last Dance.
I know we got to go, but let me ask you the question.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it Bill Belichick or was it Tom Brady?
Tom Brady, son. Both the geniuses, both complimented each other the way, two pieces can complement each other. Peanut butter and jelly, bacon and eggs, a man's dick and a woman's vagina. They go together. But what gives it to me about Tom, he won with Tampa the very next year when he left. So he didn't need Belichick. That's how great of a quarterback he was. To go to a totally different team, totally different coach, totally new system, and pull that off? Come on, man.
That team was ready to win. So and they needed the quarterback that they got, and that's why they won. I think Tom Brady's probably one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, if not the greatest. I think Bill Belichick is one of the greatest as far as getting the most out of the player, or let me even rephrase that: getting the most out of the play that the player can play. You know what I mean?
Right. Had he stuck with Garoppolo and they won it, that would have been a huge testament to Belichick. Had he went back to Bledsoe and they won it, that would have been a huge testament to Belichick. But who did he always fall back on?
Yeah.
Number 12.
But I think the greatest one out of those was Robert Kraft.
Oh, well,
He had to manage both those personalities.
Right.
He had to get it together. There's something about that guy. I'm not a big Robert Kraft fan. I was never a big and I saw this and I was like, he really, then have Tom Brady come in and go, hey, but Tom, if you're ready to leave.
We also said at one point he's never getting rid of Tom Brady.
Yeah, but he said if you want to go, if that's what you want to do, we'll
facilitate it.
We'll get it. And Tom Brady ended up playing another 2 years there, 3 or whatever. 5. I don't remember how many years after that. So Kraft orchestrated his job, man, and it wasn't his job. He wasn't, it was on Belichick. But Kraft seemed to balance those two personalities out to make this. He continued to make this the dynasty.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it to Kraft and say that these two were exceptional at their jobs. But he hired them both.
Yeah. Bobby, what do you think? Listen, it's the Patriots. It's New England. Belichick. I mean, he's good. The guy's wicked. But Tom Brady. I tell you this: if I had a choice to put Tom's or Belichick's balls, I'm choosing Tom's the entire time while I do like those Chinese balls. What are the Chinese balls, kid? That you rub together in the palms of your hands? I would do Belichick's balls like the Chinese balls with Tom Brady's while Robert Kraft watches, kid. Matter of fact, I'd even have him tape it from a distance where we can't see it.
What do you think Trump calls those balls?
Oh, balls. or gook nuts. Something like that, kid. What's wrong with balls and gook nuts? It's to die for. Bobby Patterson, by the way.
That should be a popcorn.
What? Gook nuts?
And balls.
Asian theater. Yeah, let me get a bucket of nuts. Actually, make that a large gook nuts.
Yeah, that's the end of my career.
Oh, you're a Jew, kid. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's
you stick together. I gotta admit, you Jews, man. You guys stick together.
That's what got Shane Gillis off of SNL.
You're like 100 matzo balls in the same pod.
Oh yeah, they're matzo balls now too. We got in there. We could put that in there too. You want some dates?
Yeah.
Let me find them real quick. Don't stretch any further than that, or the thing's gonna fly off the table.
What thing?
This.
Oh no! Look how long the cord is.
It will start to slide, so I don't know what happened.
You're the one to be touching that motherfucker.
Oh, okay. Guys, August 16th to the 18th. You're listening to this. It should be the 14th. But that weekend, you're going to find us over at Dania Beach, California. No, California. Dania Beach, Florida. Me. We're going to be there August 16th through the 18th. Then August 22nd to the 23rd, we're at Stand Up Live in Phoenix, Arizona. August 24th, one night only at the Rialto Theater in Tucson, my hometown. August 30th through September 1st, we're going to be at the Improv in Houston, Texas. September 7th, Aries is at the Complex in Salt Lake City. I bailed. Are you okay with that?
We'll talk about it.
I'm in trouble. September 13th through 14th, we're going to be at the Hartford Funny Bone. September 20th through the 21st, my birthday weekend, we're going to be at the Improv in Kansas City, Missouri. September 26th to the 29th, Tommy T's, all the way back in Pleasanton, California. October 4th, Royal Oak Music Theater in Michigan. October 5th, the Apollo Theater in NYC. October 11th to the 13th, we're going to be at the Orlando, Florida Improv. October 17th, we're at the Vancouver Playhouse. October 18th to the 20th, we're at Spokane Comedy Club. October 25th to the 27th, we're at the Improv in Tampa. And October 31st through November 3rd, we're at Chicago Improv. And the last date that I'm going to give you right now is November 8th at Hawaii Theater in Honolulu.
Yeah, that's it, right?
That's it. That's all we got.
Yeah. So did we decide what we're calling this?
The Dynasty.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't like Andy on Endez?
Yeah, it's
Dynasty.
good. Yeah, because then
Dynasty.
people aren't going to know what that is.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the show. Steve, by the way, Aries and I just did an extra long podcast. Are we going to keep this as one podcast?
Why not?
Because it's 2 hours.
No, we haven't given the fans a good punch in the mouth in a minute. Let's just keep it just one last time.
Okay.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.